Shalom, family. Good to see everyone here. Hope you're doing well. I just want to announce this is the final day of the sale. So you can still get products off 40% on all three stores: Etsy, Shopify, and TikTok. So grab it up today. Make sure you get these good discounts. And I will try to have more because of the situation that's going on here in the US and the inflation. So I may not be able to do sales all the time, but when I do, I'm going to try my best to give you the best percentage off possible. So, y'all, let's get to the real reason why we are here. And I have a lot of misgivings with this one, and I'm going to tell you why. Whenever there's anything going on political and they ask the people for help, it seems like we're always the ones they target for help, but we're also the ones they don't want to do anything for. Now, I would love to see our young people, work and benefit within our community where they don't have to go outside to all of these white colleges. But, I can understand why many of them are there. They are getting full scholarships and all kinds of help to be at that college. And the NAACP and the Democratic Party want Black athletes to stop going to these Southern universities and colleges. And it's over the redistricting that they're doing. Here's my problem. Whenever we want something, we don't hear from the NAACP or the Democratic Party when it comes down to our reparations. Y'all won't even talk about it. When we are being slaughtered out on these streets, it is complete silence from the NAACP and the Democratic Party. When Donald Trump is taking things away from our community, I don't hear from the NAACP or the Democratic Party. But when something is on the line for you, where it's going to impact you, then there's a call to action. I got a problem with that. I got a major problem with that. The only reason why y'all are speaking out is because the NAACP and the Democratic Party work hand in hand. And see, many of these Democrats are about to be drawn out of their seats when the new maps are out there. And so they got plenty to lose. So now they want the attention of the youth that's getting their education and they're in, athletic programs or they're playing sports. But those are not the young people you protect. Y'all don't protect them. Y'all don't, it's something can look, we had didn't we have a lynching on a college campus? Yes, we did. Where was the NAACP and the Democratic Party? Where were they? There was a young man that was lynched. We didn't hear from either one of you. So it's hard for me to tell our young people to sacrifice something for you. And I just don't want to, I just don't want our people sacrificing for politicians and organizations that on any given day, y'all don't care about us at all. That's the problem I have. I wish we could get all of our athletes away from these people. They have gained billions off of our people. Billions. But yeah, I'm going to talk about Debbie Wasserman Schultz, but in another live. I know what you're talking about, Doris, and I will talk about that. But that's the problem I have. Now you're asking them to make a sacrifice by not playing at these schools, but you don't do nothing for them. And I can't blame any of them if they don't leave. Yes, what the Republican Party is doing is despicable. And it just goes to show you how weak and frail the Republican Party is. You got to redraw maps and cheat to keep your position. You're a loser. Seriously, if you got to do all of that to keep, how come your high IQ ain't keeping you in your position? I thought y'all were the best of the best. How come those things, all them things y'all be boasting about, how come that's not keeping you in your political seat? But the fact that you got to cheat, nah, you're a loser. And there is no high IQ among you. So, anyway, y'all, let's get to this story. Let me go ahead and share my screen so you can see how people, mainly within our community, are speaking out about how they feel with the NAACP making this request. And, you organizations and the politicians have not served us well at all. And y'all ain't getting away with, especially the Democratic Party, y'all ain't getting away with that crap you've been saying before. Oh, well, what we do for everybody will benefit black people too. Even Kamala was running around saying that shit. Dog, don't come back with that crap. That ain't gonna work for you no more. Donald Trump is specifically doing something for the J6ers. So we don't want to hear anything about what you can't do for us. You can't come back with that no more. And don't come back with that. What we do for everybody benefits black people too. We don't want to hear it. If that's the case, why don't y'all say that to the J6ers? Why don't you tell the J6ers what you do for everybody will benefit them too? We don't want to hear it. You're doing something specifically for them. And we want you to do specific things that we are requesting for us. Plain and simple. No more, or they don't, or the Roland Martin bullshit. They don't have to do nothing for you. No, Roland, they shouldn't have to pay you another dime because you ain't delivering nothing. You just sitting over there running your fat mouth. They shouldn't pay you one red penny. If they don't want to do for nobody, you are the person they shouldn't do anything for. You ain't delivering the votes. You ain't doing shit but running your mouth. So let's get to it. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Thank you.
In states where they're restricting voting rights from black people.
All right, y'all. I'm just re-downloading the video that I was going to show you because it's telling me it can't be found and it's right there. I don't get it. But anyway, my upcoming live that I'm going to be doing next is going to be on Donald Trump bombing Iran while they were in peace talks. He did it again. So he bombed Iran and they were once again in the middle of peace talks. And now Donald Trump is sitting there talking about, oh, the peace talks are going well. We're going to resume. Well, you can't keep doing that. You can't keep bombing Iran and then running to ceasefire and peace talks are going well. Well, Iran did respond, y'all. They did respond. They bombed a, I think, MQ-9 drone. They also shot a missile at a US F-35 fighter jet. And they also fired on another drone, which is called an RQ-4, in response to the US bombing them last night. So I don't know why Donald Trump keeps doing this. It is, I mean, you're not going to get anything accomplished if you keep bombing the people you're supposed to be in peace talks with. But he keeps repeating this over and over. Like, it makes no sense. But the only thing I can think of is he's trying to sabotage it on purpose and then turn around and blame the Iranians. That's the only thing I can think of, you know? But yeah, in fact, I looked at some of the footage that came out of the US bombing Iran once again, and then Donald Trump jumping on a video talking about peace talks. Last time he bombed him, he jumped on the video talking about ceasefire. I was like, you know what? These little tactics y'all do, first of all, that's lame as hell. But they already retaliated. And I just would not be surprised if this once again goes back to a full blown war because Donald Trump will not stop bombing these people during talks. He won't stop doing it. So, all right, we're there, y'all. Here we go. He needs to get a grip. Okay, this should work. All right, let me share. And here we go. All right, give me a one if you can see my screen. Hopefully, this time it will work. Thank you. Thank you.
They want black athletes to stay away from schools and states where they're restricting voting rights from black people. That's cool. The question for me is this: all these years that they've been making billions of dollars off of black bodies and we've been getting nothing, where was the campaign to withhold our services until we get more control of that revenue? Where was the campaign to say, if you want black bodies generating this revenue, we demand control? We demand a seat at this table, or nobody makes any money. Where was that campaign? And so there's this cycle, if you look at the civil rights movement and beyond, that we're willing to fight for rights, which can be taken, which can be given, but we don't want to fight for control. And at some point, we have got to break out of that pattern.
The NAACP is the latest group to call for black athletes to boycott 7 states in the South who have passed these gerrymandered maps. I got a take on it. Let's get into it. My white ass ain't gonna be telling any black players what they need to be doing, where they have to go. I will give you some information to maybe think about what you should be doing, but I ain't gonna be telling any black players or families what they should be doing. I will say that it would be very powerful if some of the white players who are any good, which there's not many of us out there, let's be honest. If LSU and Alabama had to field a team that was 80% white, they'd win about 2 games. Okay. But I'm sure there's like 3 or 4 out there that are actually pretty good and could stand up and say they're not going to play in any of these fucking states. They could do that. If I was the father of a kid who is really good right now, that's the first thing I would be doing is calling recruiting companies, getting an interview and saying, my son ain't playing in those fucking states. I can get paid millions of dollars to play Michigan, Ohio State, all over the fucking country. I don't have to play in the South anymore to make a bunch of money. That's what I would be doing as a white father. So white players, y'all need to be standing up first, in my opinion. It would make it a lot fucking easier if 2 or 3 of y'all would just go ahead and come out and say that you stand against this shit. But what I would say to any black players or families with black players out there that are watching this, like I was saying, you can get paid to play all over the country. You don't have to play in the South anymore. You can win at other schools. The Big Ten has won the last 3 national championships. Okay. So when we think about the sacrifice that the players actually making, it's like not playing in front of family, which is important to some people, very important. But when you compare that sacrifice to Muhammad Ali, who didn't fight for 3.5 years, or, John Carlos and Tommy Smith, who were sent home straight from the Olympics, lost their jobs, and never got to run again, the sacrifice is pretty small. I mean, you're still getting paid millions of dollars. You still have a chance to win. You still have a chance to go pro. Muhammad Ali, Tommy Smith, John Carlos, they were proven right in the end. But it took years. We've all heard of Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King Jr. What about Ray Charles? Ray Charles went to play a segregated show in Georgia in, I think, 1965. On the way in, a young man grabs him, begs him not to play. Ray Charles at first said, I'm an entertainer. I'm going to play. But it only took him a second, and then he realized, no, I can't play this. He turned around and left, and Georgia banned him. 14 years went by before they finally honored him. But guess what? He was proven right. He got honored. History always proves you right if you're in the right, and you're in the right here. And you have a lot of power to change stuff. Like I said, I won't tell you what to do, but I mean, you have a chance to make history here. And white players should absolutely join you. That's all I got. Y'all be good.
With the Supreme Court gutting the Voting Rights Act of 1965, the NAACP has came out and urged black athletes across the South to resist playing for schools in the SEC in particular, as these southern states rush to gerrymander their districts to remove black representation in Congress and black representation in general. And this is kind of hilarious to me because I don't know when black people are going to get it across our skulls that these athletes are not coming to save us. They do not care. They are not our saviors. Do y'all really think that these young black kids are going to put their ability to make millions for them and their families on the line for you? Do you truly expect them to do that? When was the last time you saw a prominent black athlete put their careers and livelihood on the line to speak up about things and for things that was actually worth speaking up for? Oh, I got it. I remember. It was Colin Kaepernick. And you know what they did? They blackballed him so bad that he was never, ever, 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 ever able to play for the NFL ever again. The only thing these black athletes will speak up about or against is their gay pride nights. They will speak up and quote Bible verses about people being gay all day, night long, but let somebody lose their right to vote. Let somebody lose their right to have representation in Congress. They're going to be silent because they do not care. Most of these guys are capitalists, and they actually agree with a lot of the stuff that's going on in the first place. Look at Saquon Barkley. Was he not just posted up with Donald Trump not too long ago playing golf? And when everybody came for him on Twitter, he was up in arms saying, why are you guys coming for me? I'm just playing golf with the president. That's who y'all expect to come save y'all? And I think this lends itself to a larger conversation about sports and its inability to serve the purpose or purposes in which it was initially created to serve, to be conduits for change in communities across the globe, to unite people regardless of ethnicity, race, religion, background. And as long as sports is an egocentric vehicle to drive capitalism forward and to increase the value and net worth of these white billionaires, we will never get that change. And these athletes will never, ever be able to be conduits of that change. Look at Aziz Al-Shir. I think that's how you pronounce his name. He plays linebacker for the Houston Texans. This past season, while a genocide was happening in Palestine, he wore, the face paint that said "Free Palestine, Stop the Genocide" under his eyes, on his eye black, and the NFL fined him every single time he wore that face paint. If the NFL was supposed to truly be a vehicle to drive change, not only here in America but across the globe, especially as they set their sights on global expansion, do you think they would fine him for actually speaking out against a genocide? But that's not his goal. That is not his purpose. And these athletes, their goal is not to also drive change, especially in their communities. Now, there are some who will actually go the extra lengths to make measurable impacts in their communities. John Wall is one of those people. I am from DC, Southeast DC in particular, and he was a pillar in the community. And there are so many others like him. So I do not want to, forget about those people in particular. But in the grand scheme of things, these athletes don't care, man. And they're not going to resist playing in the South where most of the money is being given to them to play college football. I'm actually writing about this in the Black man's role in the NFL on my Substack. So if you're interested in reading that when it comes out, please go subscribe and follow me there. I have a link to my Substack and my Instagram. Otherwise, you can find it here. You could just subscribe and follow them.
I was born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama. Live in Brooklyn with my wife. Kids were born here. We're raising my kids here. And I am a lifelong Alabama Crimson Tide football fan. I had no choice in the matter. I was indoctrinated from birth. And I realize what I'm about to say is very easy to say as a white man living in America right now. I wish and hope and pray that every black athlete in the SEC is in a situation in their life where they can take D.L. Hughley's advice and boycott every single SEC school because of the South's concentrated effort to eliminate the black vote, strip it of its power, and send Alabama and every other state in the Southeast back to the pre-civil rights era. If D.L. Hughley and black athletes could somehow organize this, just know you have this homegrown Southern boys' full support.
Southern Colleges Boycott. The NAACP just launched a campaign to encourage black student athletes to reconsider their commitments to Southern states that have already started or are in the process of redrawing their congressional maps.
Our students who make those sports programs what they are not being represented on the state level.
It's called the Out of Bounds campaign.
It's more than about sports. It's about power, ownership, and accountability. We understand that black athletes have helped build college athletics into a multi-billion-dollar industry. But so many of those same states benefiting from black talent are actively working to weaken black political representation and power.
Here's a list of the states the NAACP is encouraging athletes to reconsider their commitment. Instead of going to flagship universities like the universities of Alabama, Georgia, and Mississippi, they're asking students, fans, and parents to reconsider their talent, time, and financial support, and consider colleges outside of these states, and consider historically black colleges and universities.
There are plenty of other universities and colleges and great athletic programs in other states that believe in protecting democracy and fair representation.
We spoke with Yanari Lyons, who recently transferred from the University of Tennessee to Howard University to run track. And she says she considered and transferred to Howard after noticing how well the track team competed against larger schools.
Go to some meets, even like when I was at Tennessee, and we would be at meets where there are HBCUs, and I seen Howard in the meets. So like at a lot of our meets, and like they were competing really well. I was like, okay, Howard. Like my mom too, like she was like, okay, look at Howard. I was like, yeah. Don't think about like the big, flashy things, the technologies, the resources, because we still have enough resources to where we can have the same accomplishments.
NAACP. You know what that stands for? Negroes ain't achieved consistent progress. I said what I said. 60 years. 60. Same speech, same march, same slogan, new logo, same problems. And now they're asking black athletes to leverage their platform over redistricting maps? Maps? You know what a map never did? Paid a mortgage, opened a business, fixed a failing school, kept a father in the home, built generational wealth. But they need your jersey, your name, and your influence for the cause. And when the camera leaves, where they at? I'm not telling you not to fight. I'm asking you to ask a harder question. What have we actually owned? What have we actually built? At some point, the question isn't, are you down for the cause? It's, whose cause are you down for? Make sure you like, share, and subscribe because I care barely.
In the absence of fairness as it relates to Black political representation, there should be no athletic participation as it relates to institutions that are housed in states that are experiencing a dramatic return to racially oppressive Jim Crow.
See, this is where I got my problem. See, the Democratic Party wants this done, and the NAACP, so their seats are protected, so that we, who they do nothing for, will fight for them to keep their seats. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do it. I say let them lose their seats because you don't do nothing for us anyway. I mean, seriously, y'all, how many in the comment section are you willing to make any sacrifices for Akeem Jeffries? I mean, seriously, are you willing to make any sacrifices for Akeem Jeffries? You know, I know we shouldn't be making these sacrifices unless they're doing the same for us. You know, and that's where I got a problem. Oh, you know, they drew tonight. Oh, we're going to lose this and lose that. No, it seems to me that the politicians are going to be the ones losing out. You're going to lose all that money and kickback and APAC money, and you're going to have to go home. That's what this seems like it's all about. You have a lot to lose, and you want us to be concerned about that. But the problem is, if y'all would have had our back all this time, I could see us having yours and the fight would be on. But being that y'all have not lifted a finger for us, you just want us to get you in office, and then you spend the next 4 years ignoring us, that ain't gonna cut it no more. So yeah, what I think the Republicans are doing is wrong. Hell yeah, it's wrong. But what y'all have done to us in the Democratic Party is a hell of a lot of wrong there too. That's all I'm saying. So I don't know, what should we deal with? Wrong the Republican way or wrong the Democratic way? Because both ways are wrong the way I see it. And look, if y'all would say to us, you know what, we are going to work towards reparations. We're going to work towards this. We're going to do that. We're going to see if we can get a slush fund to put together reparations money. Nothing. Help us save our seats. Help us save our, they're redrawing the maps. Help us. That's what you might as well be up at the mic saying. Seriously, that's what you should be. That's really what you're saying at the mic, is the same thing. Help us save our seeds. Help us save our seeds. And then when, and I'm glad that autopsy came out. Kamala spent most of her money with the white media. She didn't come to Black influencers all over the internet and grab us all up and say, here, I'm going to give you X, Y, and Z if you run campaign ads and do this for me. Nope, she took her money to the white media. That's where she took the bulk of her money. And so, no, you got to stop this mess with, you can't do nothing for us You can't give us nothing, but we need to jump to action for you. No. And that's what Akeem Jeffries is asking for these young people to make sacrifices when he hasn't made any for them. All right, let's go on.
Like tactics. These universities should feel compelled to speak up. The power of our athletes is something that has been not appreciated in recent times.
Young brothers and sisters who are into these college sports, listen, they are not lying. You hold the power. Those people need you more than you need them. Now, these brothers are doing nothing but just asking y'all not to go to those racist schools up in the South. You got UCLA, you got Illinois States. There's a lot of universities that you can go to without having to be in the racist South. They only asking you guys this because in those states in the South, they're making so many laws to go against Black people. You're not going to be treated fairly while going to these schools. So it serves you no justice. You have to understand, you are the talent. You have the power. Wherever you go, the scouts up in the NFL, the scouts up in the NBA, whatever sports that y'all play, they're going to come looking for you regardless. Whatever school that you choose to go to, they're going to go follow you. So don't get scared by these ignorant people telling you, oh, you're not going to make it to the NFL, or you're not going to make it big. That's bullshit and lies. Look at what Deion Sanders did to that HBCU. Deion Sanders went to HBCU and coached there. Got Travis Hunter, a first-round draft pick, number 2. You can't tell me you don't hold the power. They were so good at the HBCU. So many scouts came there and so many colleges throwing money for them to come play. Look at Colorado State. Y'all come play for us. Unknown college. That college ain't even a big college, but look what Deion Sanders did to Colorado University. And y'all scared that y'all not going to get signed because y'all got to go to a major university? That's bullshit and lies. Stop listening to these people who want y'all to stay in that stuck slavery mindset and fear mongering. Whatever college you go to, these people are going to follow you, and you're going to still live your dream in the NFL just like you want to, and the NBA just like you want to. And for the parents out there, they're asking to protect your kids. Don't let them go to these racist schools where they're going to be mistreated. They want to make laws against Black people, but want to use our talent to play up in these sports. That's not going to happen.
Unfortunately, brother, it done already happened. It already happened decades ago, long before you were even in existence. So, y'all, look, whatever our young people do, I'm behind them, but I don't believe they should sacrifice for these politicians. That's all I'm saying. It's one thing, some of them would be given up 4-year scholarships, okay, just to name one thing. And don't do it for them. If you're going to do it for yourself, not for people that as soon as you talk about reparations, they turn around and run, or they stand there and try to cuss you out or give you HR 40, which they knew from from the very jump, that wasn't going nowhere. They knew that. That's why they gave it to you. They knew it wasn't going to go anywhere. So I say we give these politicians the same treatment they give us. That's all. Give them the same treatment they give us. They ignore us for 4 years. When they're up for election, we ignore them. We ignore them. We don't pay them any mind. So, y'all, I guess it's food for thought. It is a lot to think about. There's so many things going on, but just do what's right for you. Do what's right for you at the end of the day. These politicians in the NAACP is asking you to give something up, what are they giving? What are they going to give? Nothing, just lip service, and that's it. So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. I will be back at 3:45, and we're going to talk about Donald Trump's recent bombing of Iran last night, and him babbling about peace talks going well and all that stuff out in the media. So I will see you then. And I need to thank the Crawford Experience. Thank you for the 18-month membership. If my son or daughter got a full scholarship to play sports at an SEC school, they better take it because it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. And the hell with the NAACP, Urban League, and CBC. That's what I'm telling you. Thank you for your support for my channel. And Douglas Ledger, thank you for the super sticker and your support for my channel. Thank you so much. And shalom, family.